Watch out, old man. A group of teenagers purposely bumped into 88-year-old Walter Morgan, making him stumble off the sidewalk and almost fall into the busy street. Car horns blared loudly. Walter, a veteran who had served in several conflicts, steadied himself just in time. His heart was pounding, not from fear, but from a cold anger rising inside. The teens just laughed and slapped high fives as they swaggered away. About half an hour later, the same group was still celebrating in a nearby alley. Suddenly, two tall men in sharp navy uniforms appeared at the alley's entrance. The sound of steady marching boots followed them. If you think respect for older people, and especially for veterans, is important, keep reading. Walter had lived nearly 9 decades, many of which were devoted to serving his country. He had lied about his age to join the Navy as a teenager during the Great Conflict, then stayed through the Korean War and a tour in Southeast Asia before retiring as a senior chief petty officer. His small apartment was filled with memories, faded pictures, medals he rarely wore but treasured, and letters from comrades long gone. His body was weak now, and he walked slowly with a cane, but his eyes held the sharp, calm focus of someone who had faced danger head-on without flinching. He lived quietly, mostly alone, spending his days visiting the park or the library. All he wanted was peace and a bit of respect. On this afternoon, Walter was walking to his favorite bakery for a treat when he ran into the usual troublemakers. The group of 5 teens often hung around the neighborhood, causing trouble by breaking things or intimidating people. Walter usually avoided them, not out of fear, but to skip pointless fights. Today, though, they were blocking the narrow sidewalk outside the bakery, sitting across a bench with their legs stretched wide, forcing people into the street. Walter walked up and kindly asked, "Excuse me, young men, could you please let an old sailor pass?" The leader, a tall boy with a sneer and a backward cap, looked Walter up and down. "Old sailor, huh? What? You 100 years old?" he mocked, and his friends laughed. Walter ignored the taunts, resting his hand on his cane. "I'm just trying to get to the bakery." The leader smirked. "Well, this is our spot, Grandpa. Find another way." One of the others added, "Maybe you should take a nap before you fall down." Walter felt a familiar, controlled anger, the kind he hadn't felt in a long time. But his voice stayed calm. "There's no need for rudeness. Just a little respect, that's all I'm asking." "Respect?" The leader scoffed, standing tall and trying to intimidate Walter. "Maybe you should show some respect to us younger folks." Then, without warning, as Walter tried to move past, the boy stuck out his foot, tripping him. At the same time, he shoved Walter hard on the shoulder. "Watch yourself, old man," he snarled. Walter lost his balance and nearly fell into the street. His cane slipped from his hand, landing right where cars were rushing by. Horns blared again as a car swerved to avoid hitting him. Walter scrambled back onto the sidewalk, heart pounding fiercely. The teens burst into laughter, pointing and joking about his near fall. Look at him dance. Maybe he learned that in the war, one shouted, high-fiving the others. Some nearby pedestrians gave angry looks, but the teens just walked away, laughing as they disappeared into a nearby alley. A kind woman rushed over to help Walter pick up his cane and check if he was okay. "Those awful boys," she said, concern in her voice. "Are you hurt?" Walter smiled weakly, his hip aching, but mostly his pride was wounded. "Just startled, ma'am." "Thank you." He dusted himself off, his hands trembling slightly. The cruelty cut deeper than any pain he'd felt facing enemies in battle. He looked at the alley where the teens had vanished. His appetite for his treat was gone. He just wanted to go home. But then something inside him stirred, a long-trained instinct. Walter was a sailor, and sailors didn't walk away from such disrespect. His fighting days were behind him, but he knew another way. He knew the neighborhood well. The alley led to an abandoned courtyard behind an old warehouse, a known hangout for troublemakers. And just 2 blocks away was the local Navy recruiting office, where a young chief named Sergeant Barnes worked, a man with a soft spot for veterans like Walter. Walter pulled out his old phone and called the station. His hands were steady now, filled with quiet determination. "Recruiting office, Sergeant Barnes speaking," came the voice. "This is Senior Chief Walter Morgan, retired. I need to speak with you about some disrespect shown to a veteran." Walter said calmly. After a moment, Sergeant Barnes was on the line. Chief Morgan, what's happened? Walter explained the situation, the blocked sidewalk, the insults, the shove into traffic. No exaggerations, just the facts. They disrespected the service and endangered me for a cheap joke. Walter finished quietly. Understood, Chief. Are you hurt? Shaken, but okay. Where are they now? In the alley behind the warehouse on Main Street. 4 or 5 teens. Consider handled. Stay safe, Chief. We'll take care of this, Navy style. Walter found a bench nearby where he could watch the alley safely. Less than 10 minutes later, a group of Navy personnel arrived, some in their sharp service uniforms, others in work clothes. They moved silently, but with authority. Sergeant Barnes led the team, his face serious. 2 sailors blocked the alley entrance, while the rest, led by Barnes, went inside. Walter couldn't see what happened, but the loud laughter stopped immediately. The teens fell silent, and then he heard Barnes' voice, calm but firm, like a ship captain setting things straight. No shouting, no fighting, just a strong, disciplined lecture on respect, honor, and responsibility. After several minutes, the teenagers emerged from the alley. They looked pale, their earlier arrogance replaced by fear and shame. They didn't run, but hurried away, avoiding eye contact. Sergeant Barnes and his sailors followed, stern but satisfied. Barnes approached Walter and gave a sharp salute. Senior Chief Morgan, the matter has been handled. The youths received a proper lesson on respect and honor. Walter returned the salute steadily, feeling a warmth in his chest. Thank you, Sergeant. Please thank your sailors for me. No thanks needed, Chief. We always look out for our own and don't tolerate disrespect, Barnes said. Are you sure you're all right? Need a ride or medical help? I'm fine. You've already done more than enough. The sailors fell into formation and marched back down the street, leaving it peaceful again, but forever changed. Walter watched them go, feeling respected and valued once more. He decided to finally get his treat. The story of the Navy's visit to the alley spread through the neighborhood. The teens who had been scolded became models of politeness, avoiding anyone older and showing respect for veterans and their service. Walter continued his quiet walks, but now when he passed the recruiting office, the sailors greeted him with a crisp salute and a nod of respect. Because true service, honor, and respect don't fade with time. They endure. And when one of their own is wronged, a few good sailors will always stand up, quietly but firmly. Walter's story is a powerful reminder that respect isn't just about age. It's about honor earned through a lifetime of service and sacrifice. When courage meets integrity, even the smallest acts can inspire change. In a world quick to dismiss the elderly and overlook veterans, the swift action of those young sailors restored dignity and showed that standing up for what's right never goes out of style. Walter didn't just regain his peace. He rekindled a legacy of respect that rippled through his community, proving some bonds are unbreakable and some lessons are unforgettable. Respect isn't given. It's earned and fiercely defended.